Hey, what's going on everyone? Vega here for Serpent X Tech, and we got an upgrade for the Iceriver RX0. There's two Icerivers in here. One is a KS0 Ultra, but we're not worried about that. We're worried about the RX0 that's in here. I need to shut down everything because we got an upgrade for it, and that is a 230 watt power supply from this particular company that the community stands behind and really likes. And we already tried pushing the RX0 with a custom firmware from PBfarmer as far as we can, but we're limited by the stock power supply, which is the Hunky power supply rated for only 120 watts. We can do like 122, 125, but it's not going to get us very far. So let's shut down everything, turn off the fans, and upgrade this power supply for the Iceriver RX0 and show you what we can get to as far as clocks and hash rate. All right, everything is plugged back in and reconfigured, but I just want to show you real quick how hot this power brick, which has actually been off for about 2 minutes. Look how hot this power brick is. This is why I was saying do not run. If you're going to overclock this thing and push it above the 120 watt rating of the Hunky power supply, you don't want to run it long term. Change that to Celsius. Doesn't look too hot, but again, this thing has been off for about 2 to 5 minutes, and it's still like this side will really burn your hand. So pushing things above its rated power draw could be a huge issue, and obviously a fire hazard. So everything's plugged in. Let's go ahead and get the fans going again. That one's going, and you get the RX0 going with my smart outlet so we can watch the power draw. Plug the KS0 Ultra in, and now let's go do some firmware mods and see what we can push this thing to. And after some testing, I actually have some data that I'm going to go over with you, reminding you that this device, while the sides are off, are still operating on stock thermal paste, thermal pads, stock internals. So overclocking this thing with a 230 watt power supply, we need to be mindful of that as we push forward. Now, before we show you those clock settings, configuration, and the hash rate I was able to hit, a quick word from today's video sponsor. Today's content has been brought to you by CryptoMinerBros.com, who's actually been in the industry for a hot minute, and they bring you all the latest offerings from your favorite ASIC manufacturers like Iceriver, Bitmain, Goldshell, WhatsMiner, and so much more. And even as they continue to expand, while they're headquartered in Hong Kong, they have distribution centers here in North America that can save you money on import duties. You can check out all the latest offerings in their shop, link is in the description, and save some money with coupon code SERPENTX on checkout. But give them a follow on social media, because if they are going to release any new products or there's any new announcements, they will let you know, and at competitive prices according to the industry. They also provide additional information and some pretty good insight on their blog page. So just check them out, link is in the description, and a huge thanks for them supporting our channel. So as you can see, we're sitting around 400-ish gigahash, right? Things are still leveling off. Device, if I move out of your way, has been running for about 3 hours, thereabouts, because I did update. Actually, at time of filming, PBfarmer devs did release the official revision, PBV084 RXD. So the team has been working profusely behind the scenes since the release of the RX0 to provide us a firmware update, hence my previous video of just hanging tight, as many of you were asking. But again, we're running on stock internals, and before I show you the clocks, we obviously need to do a couple things that I'll probably do in a different video or offline, and that is to put these little guys on, these heat sinks that go in the MOSFETs, to keep it cool, because we are climbing in thermal. And those thermals, right, because we have our voltages set at 433 and our clocks are hitting around 883, we could technically push it a little bit further, but you see this big drop right here? We had a couple of them where we peaked out almost near 80 degrees Celsius. We're hitting 79 degrees at the max, but we're having these drops down to 66. And then this one 64, and then this one 64. So we're hitting thermal limits on some of the components that we can't monitor, or that we can't see the sensors for in this particular firmware, or that Iceriver just never added. So we definitely want to keep that in mind as we're pushing. I think we just hit the maximum we can with stock internals, and those clocks are as follows. Somewhere around 240, 250 megahertz clock offset, and somewhere around 50 to, I would say 56, 58 millivolts, right? So basically a 14% increase from stock on the voltage offset, or 38 to 40% 35 to 40% increase on the clock offset. So if you're just rocking the stock thermal paste, thermal pads, whatever it might be, I think these are going to be the limits you hit, because you can see we're just diminishing our hash rate now because we're hitting those thermal limits. We have the small fans up, and again, this thing is in a duct where I'm running a pretty decent amount of air through it. So just by applying fresh thermal paste and better thermal pads and adding these little heat sinks to the device will make this device be able to go a little bit more. But are we hitting diminishing returns? Well, let's look at the power draw. So we're sitting at 184 watts right now. I would definitely say we're hitting diminishing returns. And anytime you overclock these Iceriver miners, you're basically sacrificing efficiency to get extra hash rate. So it's up to you to find that balance point on which you're going to be like, hey, you know what? I want to focus more on efficiency. So we drop, and you can go backwards. Instead of overclocking your device, you can actually declock it or detune it a little bit to become more efficient on the stock power supply, which is the route I would go on a stock 100 key power supply. But if you're going to want to push it a little bit harder so you can get much more of that cryptocurrency, whatever the Iceriver miner might be, then you can overclock it, but then you're sacrificing that efficiency. Let's calculate that efficiency right now. 184 minus an average of 380 gigahash. And over here on the left-hand side of your screen, what we're seeing is 184 watts, which is where we're sitting, divided by 380 gives us 0.484 watts per gigahash, whereas stock, which was 104, 105 watts, gave us a 0.39 efficiency, or let's just round up to 0.4 instead. And then overclocking on the stock power supply put us around 122 watts, and that was 0.42, almost 0.43 efficiency, because we were getting right around 285 gigahash. So once you know these numbers and you overclock your machine, you can kind of fine tune where you want to be in the efficiency curve to get you the best hash per watt, rather than just going for all the beans or full send and getting as much hash rate as possible but sacrificing the efficiency. It really depends on you and your use cases. But as for me, I'm probably going to detune it a little bit. I will replace the thermal pads and thermal paste, but here's the clock offset and the voltage offset I was able to settle in on with the stock internals, no modifications to the thermal application sent by Iceriver. Let me know what you get if you get better, but I will be modifying this, trying to improve these thermals and kind of balance out these board temperatures and chip temperatures a little bit more. Hottest chip is around 75, or excuse me, board max is 75. While the average is 70. So we are getting nice and toasty, even with adequate cooling. So the thermal application needs to be replaced if we want to push this any further. But I want to hear from you down in the comment section below. What clocks can you get? What is your core offset, your voltage offset? What was your performance, your hash rate, and your watts? Let us know. Sign off in the comments. Share that information with the community. And thank you so much for stopping by. Do me a favor on the way out. Hit the like button. Get subscribed, hit notification bell to stay up to date, as well as check out additional links in the description, like today's video sponsor that helps support the channel. If you buy a unit from today's video sponsor, Crypto Miner Bros, make sure you use coupon code SERPENTX on checkout to save a little bit of money, and you all just have yourself a wonderful day. Take care. I'll catch you next one.